It's 2 in the morning. My front door explodes open and cold night air rushes in. A stranger in expensive sneakers strolls in like he owns the place. He smirks and says, "My mom runs the HOA. I can go wherever I want." That's when I realized this wasn't neighbor drama. It was a crime scene in my living room. I'm half asleep on the couch, TV flickering on mute, when the crash jolts me upright. The front door slams against the wall. My first thought is home invasion. My second thought is my 16-year-old daughter asleep upstairs. My hands tremble as I reach for my phone. The kid, 19, maybe 20, glides past the threshold like he's done this before. Designer hoodie, perfect hair, that prep school arrogance radiating off him like heat. He glances at my family photos, then at my laptop like he's browsing a store. The smell of damp leaves clings to him. The metallic taste of adrenaline rises in my throat. "Who the hell are you?" My voice cracks. He gives me a lazy grin. "My mom runs the HOA. I can go wherever I want." For a second, my brain can't process it. HOA? That's his excuse. But his eyes are dead serious. This isn't a prank. This is entitlement turned criminal. My thumb hovers over 911, but part of me freezes, wondering if calling the cops will even matter if his mother runs the neighborhood. What would you do if this was your house? 3 months earlier, none of this would have seemed possible. I just moved into Willowbrook Estates, looking for a fresh start after a brutal divorce. The houses were neat, the schools decent, the HOA fees manageable. Perfect place for me and my daughter, Zoe, to heal. I pictured weekend barbecues, waving at neighbors, mowing the lawn without drama. Just a quiet middle-class life. Instead, I walked into a suburb run like a petty kingdom. My peace of mind and Zoe's sense of safety were about to be tested in ways I couldn't imagine. From day one, a single name kept popping up, Vivian Ashworth. People whispered at the way sailors talk about storms. But at first, I thought it was just neighborhood gossip. I had no idea the self-appointed queen and her son would turn our dream home into a battleground. Vivian Ashworth was everything you picture when you hear HOA Karen. Mid-50s, luxury SUV, clipboard practically glued to her hand. She'd crowned herself Neighborhood Standards Coordinator, a title that existed nowhere in the bylaws, but she wore it like a crown. My welcome to Willowbrook wasn't a plate of cookies. It was a violation notice stuffed into my mailbox. Non-regulation mailbox color. Brown post must be black. $50 fine. 72-hour compliance. I scoured the 47-page HOA document. Not a single word about mailbox colors. I called the HOA hotline, and it rang straight to Vivian's personal phone. Her voice could freeze boiling water. "I've been maintaining community standards for 15 years. She snapped before hanging up. The audacity made my coffee taste like liquid disappointment. Then came violation number 2. Excessive garden gnome display. I had one gnome. One, picked out by Zoe because it made her smile during the divorce. In Vivian's world, even joy was a violation. And every morning her black BMW crawled past my house at exactly 15 miles an hour. Phone pressed to the window, like some suburban paparazzi. Zoe asked, "Dad, why does the mean lady keep taking pictures of our house?" Great question. I wished I had a sane answer. My neighbor Dolores, a sweet 70-year-old, pulled me aside during one of Vivian's patrols. Her weathered fingers gripped my arm. "She's marked you now," she whispered. "The family before you? Young couple with a baby. She tortured them over sprinkler schedules until they sold the house." That's when I learned the real pattern. Vivian made up rules on the spot, enforced them like federal law, and bullied anyone who resisted. Meanwhile, her 19-year-old son Trevor had been marinating in this environment his whole life. College dropout, trust fund brat, zero respect for boundaries. Violation notices started raining down like confetti from hell. Seasonal decorations out of season. Aftermarket floor mats visible from public areas. Noise violation for using a circular saw at 10 a.m. Each notice carried bigger fines, $50, then $75, then $100. I documented everything, photos, timestamps, drive-by videos. Late nights on legal forums taught me HOAs can't just demand money without hearings. but hearings kept getting postponed. Vivian was running a dictatorship with zero oversight, and her son was learning from the master. I wasn't about to let a clipboard dictator run me out of my own home. I spent nights highlighting bylaws, calling friends and property management, even recording our phone calls, legal in my state. Neighbors began quietly handing me their own violation notices. Some never reached the HOA management company because Vivian's cousin handled the mail. Dolores produced spreadsheets dating back 15 years. Bernard, a retired postal worker, showed patterns of tamper dispute letters. This wasn't just harassment. It was fraud. Janet from Legal Aid explained that HOA officers are fiduciaries. They're legally required to act in the community's best interest. Misusing funds or obstructing due process isn't just unethical, it's criminal. Our little resistance, Sel met in my kitchen over coffee. We were done hiding. Vivian thought she could intimidate residents one by one. She hadn't planned for us to compare notes and fight back together. But while we were building our case, Trevor was building his next move. A direct, criminal one. It started with trespassing. My security cameras caught Trevor sneaking around my yard at night with a phone flashlight, claiming official HOA business. When I confronted him, he smirked. You think cops will believe some divorced loser over a respected community leader? Then came vandalism. Red spray paint spelling snitch across my mailbox. All 4 truck tires slashed. Anonymous flyers calling me a disgruntled ex-employee spreading lies. Instead of weakening my case, it strengthened it. My cameras caught everything. License plate, face, knife in hand. Officer Martinez reviewed the footage. This kid's building quite a rap sheet, she said. Let's see how far he wants to take it. So I upgraded my system. Motion-activated lights, backup cameras, direct alerts to my phone. If Trevor wanted to break in, I catch every second in high definition. He thought he was hunting me. In reality, I was setting a trap. The night before the annual HOA meeting, everything came to a head. I was working late rewiring an office building. Zoe was at a friend's sleepover. Thank God. My house would be empty from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. Perfect timing for someone planning something stupid. At 1:30 a.m. my phone buzzed with motion alerts. Trevor, right on schedule. The drive home felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life. My knuckles went white on the steering wheel. I pulled into the driveway to find my front door wide open, kitchen lights blazing, drawers being yanked open and slammed shut. My filing cabinets, where all my HOA evidence was stored, looked like a grenade had gone off inside. And there, in the middle of the chaos, stood Trevor Ashworth with his hands full of my documents, looking for something specific. I asked, hitting record on my phone's camera. He didn't even flinch. My mom runs the HOA. I can go wherever I want, he said, like breaking and entering was a community perk. I dialed 911 with my free hand. Yes, I need police. I have an intruder in my home. Blue lights flashed through the windows minutes later. Officers stormed in. Sir, step away from those papers and put your hands where we can see them, Officer Martinez commanded. Trevor's prep school arrogance made one final appearance. Do you know who my mother is? Hands behind your back. Now, the click of the handcuffs was the most satisfying sound I'd heard in months. Word of Trevor's arrest spread like wildfire. The next evening the community center was packed beyond capacity. Residents clutching years of bogus violation notices stood shoulder to shoulder. A local reporter sat in the front row. And there, looking 5 years older overnight, sat Vivian Ashworth, clutching a leather portfolio like a lifeline. I walked to the microphone. 3 months ago, I moved here looking for peace. I began. Instead, I discovered a criminal conspiracy robbing every family in this community. Slide by slide, we presented bank statements, fake invoices, photos of harassment, and finally the video of Trevor's break-in and text messages from his mother approving it. The crowd gasped. Someone shouted, "Arrest her." Detective Williams stepped forward. Based on evidence recovered this morning, Mrs. Ashworth, you need to come with us for questioning. Vivian's composure cracked. I built this community, she screamed as officers led her away. Cameras flashed. Justice had arrived. 6 months later, Willowbrook Estates felt like a different world. Trevor got 18 months for felony burglary. Vivian faced multiple embezzlement and fraud charges, sentenced to 3 years plus restitution. Her BMW, jewelry, and vacation fund were liquidated to pay back neighbors. With the recovered money, we built a playground, installed LED streetlights, and started a scholarship fund. HOA dues dropped by 30% overnight. Monthly meetings turned into real community gatherings instead of tribunals. I never wanted to be HOA president, but the neighbors elected me anyway. Turns out running an association, honestly, is simple when you're not running a theft ring. As I watched Zoe plant sunflowers in the new community garden, where Vivian used to park for surveillance, I realized the sweetest justice wasn't the arrests. It was children laughing fearlessly in their own neighborhood again. What did I learn? Document everything. Know your rights. And never let bullies convince you their title makes them untouchable.